Yeah. Right now we're just waiting for people to come in, but we're on.
Yeah, those are pretty cool, Paul. Do they work well?
You know what? They sound great, and I can wear them all day. Like it's really great.
So they're comfortable.
Really, yeah. We're talking about these nice earrings that I have in here.
So people don't think it's your rash.
Yeah, no. Like watch here, no. Galaxy Live buds. They're kind of cool. So
no, you really don't have a rash. I didn't even know what you were pointing at there, but I was just trying to be funny.
Yeah, I know I don't have a rash.
So the battery life actually lasts a full 12 hours or whatever. I don't know.
As long as
you consider a day.
Well, I get a work day out of them, and I'm in meetings all the time. But when I'm out of a meeting, I just throw them back in the case, right? And I can use them all day. I've never had them go on me.
And they're called what? The Galaxy what?
Galaxy Buds Live. They were on like some ridiculous sale just after Christmas. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. They came out last year?
Yep.
Someone's excited.
You heard that?
Yeah, there's excitement happening about these Galaxy Live buds.
Yeah, no,
Galaxy Buds Live.
That unfortunately wasn't. I've got this set up here, all around.
It's your birthday?
That's the anniversary thing for the 1 year. But anyways, my son is over there, and I made one agreement with him. He could stay here, and he's playing Xbox, and he's playing Fortnite with headphones on.
Okay.
The one agreement was don't make any noise. And it just happened. He just made that little gasping sound as we were talking about the buds.
Do we blame him? What if you got like a really cool 360? He cranks some 90s on someone. I don't know. You don't know what happened.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about. But it looks like he's doing good. I think he got a victory royale.
Oh, there you go. That explains it. Yeah.
No,
that's when he wins the game, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry?
That's when he wins the game.
He wins the game, yes. That's when out of usually 90 or 100 players?
100, yeah, so basically the whole concept of the game is 100 people drop, and you have to be the last one remaining. So you're dropped onto an island, you have to scavenger for weapons, and then you have to eliminate all the other players, and then there's a storm that keeps pushing you in. So the good and the bad about that game, we're going to tie it into the actual podcast now.
Okay.
So they actually have cars.
You can play it on the Tesla.
I've tried.
I wish.
So you have cars in the game, and it's kind of neat because you have to actually gas them up to make them keep going. Where most games, they just give you like a limited gas. So you have to actually go to a gas station and fill them up. The bad thing about the game is they actually have EV chargers in it, but there's not a single EV in the game that you can drive.
You're kidding me.
Okay. Well, they'd all be iced anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I feel like it's such a great opportunity for Tesla to do some sort of collaboration because Epic does so much stuff in that game in terms of like they partnered with Marvel between August and November where they did all Avenger space characters. They do crazy stuff all the time. So it's not that far-fetched to say, hey, Tesla should actually team up with them to put superchargers in the game with Teslas driving around. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, the reason he's playing it tonight, usually I would have kicked him out by now, but he just downloaded the new update, and I think it's a Predator update.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
By the way, Michael says hi from Taiwan.
Yes, we have our first Taiwanese guest. That's awesome. Well, you know what? It's been 4 minutes. Let's start the podcast.
When you wait like 10 seconds.
10 seconds? Okay. One.
Do you get why?
No, I don't get it.
All right, you can start now. It's 4:20.
Oh, 4:20. Yes, I get it. Okay. Welcome to the podcast, folks. Welcome to Tesla Talks podcast. I don't know if Paul clued in on that.
Yes,
it is. You did good. We've been talking just before we started the podcast. The guys here.
He's baby.
So he gets it.
Not really.
We were talking about 420, and he wasn't born in the 60s. Maybe the tail end, but I doubt it.
No.
Good.
Oh,
good.
no.
Yeah. I think I'm the oldest one here. Welcome to the podcast, folks. This is I didn't want to make a big, huge deal about it, but Franklin made me, and he made me put it on Twitter and everything. This is the 1-year anniversary. Look at the look I'm getting. This is the 1-year anniversary of Tesla Talks podcast. Can you believe it? We've lasted 1 year. I can't believe it. And because we lasted 1 year, we lasted 1 year, but because it's the 1-year anniversary, I figured it was only befitting if I have my original guest that I had on the very first Inception episode back on this one. And it happens to be Paul and Franklin, Tesla Canuck and Tesla Mother Frunker, also known as their real names. So welcome to the show, guys.
Hashtag FSD Beta Canada.
Yes, well, that was bound to happen sometime or later.
Just get it out of the way early. Is what Paul
Get
wants
it?
to
Yeah,
do.
it's like a Band-Aid to get it out of the way.
The elephant in the room, got to deal with it.
So this is
You're not an
episode.
elephant, but
No, I get it. Franklin's more the
a little
color
bit,
of
maybe.
elephant. Yeah. This is episode number 36 out of 52. So in the summer, we went every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, as the summer got busier for all of us, and the news sort of slowed down for Tesla news and stuff like that. So we skipped a few in between there. So we didn't do exactly 52 episodes. I knew we weren't going to, but 36 isn't bad for the first year.
You know why we did 36 though? Do you want to tell the viewers? 36 divided by 52 is 69.
Doing the math, it is not.
Yep.
I thought you were going to say 420, but
It's 0.69. It actually is. That's what I'm here for. I bring this
the comic relief.
tidbits
comic
that
relief.
you're not going to get otherwise.
Yes.
You know?
So we're also trying to keep this to a shorter show, and the news is a little light this week.
Light.
Yeah, it's been light. So, but before we go on any further, we're gonna have a little toast to a 1-year anniversary. Franklin, if you don't have anything, that's okay. But I see Paul has his golden mug, and I've got a little thing right here. Oh, you go.
Moscow Mule, people.
You don't have to say what's in it. Moscow Mule. This is a little rum, and I know. Don't ask me why. It's rum and Perrier. Like I said, don't ask me why. I just don't drink pop anymore or soda.
That's okay. I won't look at you any differently.
Thank you. I'm wondering.
All right, leave in the comments if you can guess what's in here.
Oh, I can guess in a heartbeat. It's 3.
Oh, hey, Santos.
Yeah. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of stats before we continue with the news. So this is episode number 36. So really, we've done 36 episodes this year. 31 of them have been live. I guess the first 5, and I remember doing this. The first 5, we wanted to iron out the kinks and stuff like that. So we pre-recorded the first 5 and then put it up on YouTube afterwards. After those 5, we went live completely. So 31 live episodes. We were in different locations. We were in cars. Some weeks I remember Franklin and Ryan and different guys were in cars. We were in hotel rooms. Franklin, I remember that
episode.
Yeah, we were outdoors. I remember I was in my backyard once, and I think at one point Wade was walking around with us near the tail end of when he was on, and he was walking around giving us a house tour and a garage tour and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Earl basically gave us a house tour.
Yes.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but who's been your favorite guest?
No, you know what? This is what I'm getting at. We've had 22 different guests. Out of the 36, we've had 22 different guests in a year.
Yes.
That's something, you know what? First of all, I got to thank Franklin for that because he did most of the footwork. And really, that's the only reason he's here is to get the talents.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. He's booking agent. No, I'm kidding. There's many reasons you're here, Franklin.
Behind the scenes, actually, if anyone's interested, I usually get guests, and Dax usually gets like the topics for the week. And if you ever want to come on the show, just shoot me a message, a DM, and I'll try to get you in at some point.
Yeah.
And it works really well, just the way we've done it. It's not like we said, "Hey, these are assigned roles." Just kind of worked out that way, right?
No.
So it's cool. We've made so many friends over the community over the last 2.5 years since I've had my car. And that's how I mostly get on everyone who you see on the show. They're just friends of mine who happen to be, either they're big in the community or upcoming and whatever it may be, right? So if you guys ever want to be on the show, just shoot me a DM on Twitter and I'll try to get you in at some point. Because the more the merrier, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
the other thing that, in addition to being booking agent, I mean, Franklin has one more claim to fame in terms of us here He's the only Tesla YouTuber I know that actually has groupies. So if you go to videos,
So
and you look
true.
for the comments, he gets all the girls. I don't know what's going on.
And they're hot too.
Yeah.
My responses to them are so mean.
If people at home, if you have no idea what we're talking about, we're not really talking real people. Obviously, we would not.
You don't know that, Dax. Settle down.
Whenever, if you're a YouTuber, I'm sure at one point or another you've probably experienced this. You get in your comments, I guess, the group of comments, every now and then you get this spam where people say, what do they say? They just, most of it is just like emoticons and stuff like that, right? Like little emojis.
Yeah. They send like hearts, smiley faces, I love you, I'm looking for a boyfriend.
Yeah, and they're smart. They know not to put a link in because the link will get flagged right away. And then what they're doing now is they're putting timestamps in it. They'll put like 1 minute 24-second mark, so that gets highlighted, and then they do their little emojis and I love you and kisses and stuff like that. So Franklin, we've all gotten them. Franklin gets the most. He gets the most, and he replies to them. He has full out conversations with them.
My replies to them were good.
Oh, they are. They're very sarcastic and good and fitting too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so
that's
if you ever
what Paul
want to
means
troll
by
me, my channel, feel free, because I will 100% have a conversation with you. Like, I enjoy troll. You know, they're a lot of fun.
So like
trolls
I said,
and groupies.
Yeah, exactly.
Trolls and groupies. Yeah.
Trolls and groupies. That's your next channel name. So we've had 22 different guests. Now, we were talking about Franklin and we were talking about Paul and telling you guys how valuable they are. And I think I say this every episode, how valuable they are. And any guest that comes on the show, how valuable you guys are and how you take the time and energy out of your busy days and your family and work schedules, whatever. So whatever it is that you have in your private life and you take away to come on the show, or even the guys in the chat every week, they come on and stuff like that, and they help us out and participate. A huge thanks going out, and my gratitude goes out to you. I mean, without you guys, I mean, like I said, I've always said I could have a show by myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a lot more entertaining and a lot more helpful when you guys are around. So Franklin has been on this year 31 episodes.
Wow.
Out of 36. So you've only missed 5. That's great. I remember you were on Death's Door at one point, right? So that was probably those 5 weeks.
I think, so back before the pandemic hit, I thought I had the virus because I was like, had the worst flu for like a month and a half. And I remember, I think I missed like 4 episodes.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
Because of the flu. And this is just before it became like a wide known thing. So I'm almost positive I had it at one point in time because I've never had a month-long flu, right?
Probably. And little backstory thing that you don't even know, Franklin, I'll tell the guests that are watching and listening. I was so concerned about you. You were passed out. You didn't even know this. This is the first time I'm telling you this. I came to your house. I was so concerned to make sure you're okay. And I put a little mirror under your nose and I saw you were breathing and I left. You were out for the count, so you didn't even know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good friend.
You have the keys to Franklin's place.
That's that broken window I was looking at. Now it all makes sense.
Moving right along. Paul's been on the show 12 times. At least I lost count. I think maybe at least 12 times. I want to say 12 to 15 times this year. So that's great. I mean, Paul's a busy guy. Paul has actual real lives, unlike Franklin and I. Sorry, Franklin, I'm speaking on behalf of you.
Paul has a successful YouTube channel. That's the difference.
And that too. And
I don't know about that.
So, like I said, this is, other than the fact that you guys were the 2 originals, this is the reason I wanted you guys on the show, because it was, like I said, it was what you guys did from the very, very beginning. And throughout the whole entire year, you guys helped me out. And like I said, there was 22 different guests. I put a little collage together, and I meant to play it, and I don't even know where it is, and it'll take me time to find it.
And you missed one.
And
I don't know if it's true or not. I just threw that out there.
I did miss one because I can't find the episode, and we won't go into who I missed because I don't want to insult anyone or someone to take it the wrong way. But yeah, So sorry. So maybe
okay,
it's a good idea, Franklin. Maybe I won't play that video as we talk. Okay, but
bring back McDonald's pizza.
McDonald's pizza was pretty good.
Yeah, you know what, buddy?
I liked it.
I never even thought of McDonald's pizza until you just brought that up.
It took too long for them to make it, which went against their whole fast food thing, and it caused their orders to be delayed, and that's why they got rid of it.
Is it?
Why did Tony bring that up? I'm just curious.
Doesn't matter. It's McDonald's pizza.
Yes.
Yes, true. And Darren in the chat is saying, you know what? I was a good friend for coming and checking on you when you were on Death Store. Moving right along to the news because nobody wants to hear about this kind of creepiness anymore.
This is
how I got
Tesla
into your
Pizza
house
podcast now.
Yes, between Tesla Pizza and me breaking into your house.
Yeah.
I can see. Let me just move my camera a little bit this way. There we go. While I talk, hopefully it won't fall. And I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning. I think we were off air before we started rolling. If you hear little grunts and outbursts in the background, I'm doing this live. I'm in my basement. I've got my son about 10 feet away from me playing Xbox with headphones on. I've put the fear of God into him to keep quiet and don't make any noises, but he's 9 years old, so we have to cut him some slack.
Yeah.
And we'll just blame it on Franklin. Okay.
Works for me.
Works for you. You guys want to say anything before we start off with the news?
Yeah, I want to thank Darren for his article this week. He does an excellent job. This is from Drive Tesla Canada, for those who are listening, not watching. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Think that through for a second.
That's all you want to say? Okay. Yeah.
That's
no,
it.
No, thank you. And that segues good into their first topic because it just happens to be, and I don't know if you're talking about this what you meant, but our first topic comes, actually most of our topics come from Drive Tesla Canada. Now this article, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's one of the things I want to say, if you haven't seen it, where have you been? But it wasn't so popular. What I'm talking about is Tesla put out a video just about their new 4680 battery cells and the production line and stuff like that. And the video, for one, I mean, it's like under a minute long, I think, like 50 something seconds. And it was catchy. And, you know, I watched it a few times, and just the scale of the production and how it's going raised a lot of questions, like interesting questions. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking, like, first of all, my first question was, and I've heard some other people talk about this, was that real speed or was it sped up? I'd be curious to know, because if that's real speed and they're still working the kinks out, they're doing pretty good. My second question is, they've got a lot of production going on there. If that's how it truly is, and it's not CGI, which I wouldn't expect it to be CGI. I think, just like a lot of people, once again, I think Elon sandbagged the timelines, because I think they're making a lot of batteries. And then the third question, which a lot of people have also asked, is all these batteries that they're making, I mean, we just watched a 50-second video of it, but all these batteries that they're making probably constantly, I don't know about 24/7, but I'm assuming constantly, where are all these batteries going? Where are they stockpiling them, or what are they putting them into? So I've asked enough questions. I'm going to tell you something else, some more tidbits about the video, but you guys want to chime in with any of those questions I was asking myself?
Go ahead, Paul. You can.
Well, I saw a comment here. I just took the words right out of my mouth about sandbagging, right? So I think when production begins, right, he's going to have sufficient supply, right? That he's not going to have to worry about keeping up with the volumes. So that's my guess. It's just sandbagging some.
So I'm trying to find his comment because I could have swore. So Dax asked if the video was sped up, and I believe he said, and they're also saying it in the comments, the actual video is slowed down. It's not sped up.
Oh wow!
It's the absolute opposite of what you're saying.
Okay.
Because I remember, and I don't remember the exact quote, but he was saying that if they didn't slow it down, you wouldn't actually be able to see everything that was happening properly.
Well, I remember him saying that a couple of years ago about some kind of production. I can't remember if it was battery production or cell production or if it was just regular manufacturing. But remember him saying, whether it was in an interview or on Twitter, he was saying something. I think it was in an interview, probably a Joe Rogan thing, where he was saying that it had to be slowed down.
Yeah. And he's always touted production as like his key to fame, his key to success, I guess. And you can really see it happening. I want to say slowly, but it's rather quick.
Yep.
It's a blur in a TED Talk, apparently, Mark said.
Okay. Remember on Battery Day, I mean, Elon did mention something about yields, right? And maybe not knowing yet completely what the yield is going to be. So of all the ones that manufacture, how many of them are actually going to be viable?
Exactly.
Right. So I think there's a lot more questions than answers.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying at the beginning. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's a great video, but just that little video alone, for people like us that are like eager for this kind of stuff, so many questions start going off in your head, right?
I feel like Battery Day, a lot of people are disappointed at Battery Day. I was very honest about it, because I was like, hey, they hyped this up so much. I want to see something now, not later. And even Elon said in the past,
like a certain release we just had in December.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Elon's actually said in the past, right? Like, don't tell me about it, show me it, right? So the fact that he had this like big Battery Day event where he typed it up and then didn't really show us anything substantial. Like, it was a lot of like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, not hey, this is what we've done. And not to take away, because everything he said over time happens, right? Sometimes his timelines are delayed, like December 2020, FSD Beta Canada. But nonetheless, it happens, right? And I think the Battery Day event would have been a lot better if he probably waited an extra 2-3 months to see like what he's showing off now. Because I feel like that would have been a much better event. Because he delayed it so much anyway. What's an extra 2, 3, 4 months?
Yeah. Well, it was delayed, I think. Yeah. Part and parcel because just Tesla delay things, but also the pandemic, I'm sure, delayed a lot of stuff too. Because I think at the end of the day, they wanted to do it in person. Mm-hmm. They sort of did that with the cars and the drive-in type of thing. But yeah, you're right, Franklin. It's don't show me what's coming, or don't show me what. I forget what how you phrased it, but basically, I think at the end of the day, getting back to Paul saying. And I agree with you that they were sandbagging, or he was sandbagging the whole time. And I'm finding that Tesla and Elon seems to be doing that a lot. I guess they figured out that's the best way to go about this kind of thing, is sandbag everything and just spring it on people so they'll be happy and surprised that it came earlier or better. So it's not I mean, it's not a bad strategy. But I think what he meant, what he probably wanted to say and he couldn't, is it's not what we're going to do in the future. It's not what we want to do, but it's what we're doing right now. But I don't think he could have said it at the time. But really, I think at the end of the day, they were doing it, or they were just about to start doing it.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? He doesn't want to come out and say, hey, in the next 6 months, we're going to have much better batteries in our cars.
That's
because if he said that, like, Paul, would you have went out and changed your... Would you have waited an extra 6 months? Like, that would have...
You know, that's a difficult question. I probably still would have bought.
No, but do you see what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, definitely.
And like we've had this discussion to lengths, and the fact that they don't do yearly releases, people aren't waiting for the next big. October's coming. Let's wait till we get the next year's model. Like, it doesn't happen. You buy it now because you know that's the best one you're going to get at this given day.
But people are waiting though, because in my Model Y group, you wouldn't believe how many people are waiting on a couple things, because it's a Canadian Model Y group. They're waiting to see if that federal rebate will kick in for the standard range and the 7-seater standard range. That's a whole debate in itself, and we talked about it a few episodes ago. But they're also waiting for all the stuff that they promised or they announced in the China-made and the Chinese-made Model Y. They're waiting for it to come here to North America. I think I heard a lot of people are holding off, and I just happened to be I was in Oakville for something unrelated to Tesla, but it was nearby. So I stopped in with my kids this afternoon, and I went through the parking lot. There's a lot of Model Ys sitting there. I mean, I don't know if they're sold. I don't know if they're pre-PDI, but there's a lot of Model Ys sitting there.
What's your guys' thoughts on the long-range rear-wheel drive?
If it's still coming or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's still coming. I think Tesla, I mean, I could be wrong. It's just my uneducated
No
opinion.
doubt it's still coming.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second. If you guys think it is, just to like not sway your opinion, but just give you a different perspective, Elon said that he was going to cancel the standard range because it didn't make sense, and that the long range would be coming in a few months. Mm-hmm. Then a few months went by, and we got the standard range. We didn't get the long range rear-wheel drive.
So if I said Franklin, I meant Elon. I gave you a compliment.
Interchangeable.
If Elon came out tomorrow and said we're not making a long range, really, at the end of the day, how many people, after he said the same thing months ago about the standard range, how many people at this point would take him seriously? I wouldn't, because I know that all it would take is a lull or some kind of slowdown, or not that there is going to be a slowdown, but you know what I mean? Some kind of perfect timing in the production line where they'll insert the long range just to, spur up interest and more demand. That's exactly what they did here with the SR, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the other thing.
Go ahead, Paul.
I get a word in edgewise today.
Sorry, Paul. I apologize.
That's okay. You always do it, Franklin.
You know.
We're still friends. I just wanted to get back to this thing about waiting, right? Because you asked me a really good question, Dax. Is like, would I have waited, right? And what I found, like, this is my third Tesla, right? The Model Y. And what I found is that if you wait, you might get something, but then there's always something else coming behind it. And you're like, oh shit, I'm going to wait for that. No, I'm going to wait for that. And then like, you just keep waiting,
yeah,
right? So
it's
I
totally agree.
If you need a car and you like Tesla, is buy Tesla.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But like I said, I'm on the same page as you. When you need it, right? But with that said, I guess some people, or a lot of people out there are not, let me not say a lot. Some people out there have the liberty and the patience to wait. And it seems like that's what they're doing. According to my small little Model Y Facebook group, it seems that people are waiting because every day the federal rebate question comes up and I have to turn off commenting and say, use the search feature. But getting back, Franklin, did you have something to say about that?
No, you're good. Keep going. Okay.
Getting back to the video, let's talk about some, I guess you could say, Easter eggs or little hints that Tesla dropped. And they're so brilliant at doing this. Like, they're so good at doing this. So what I guess nobody but this one person, or maybe just this one person was the first person, his name is Dave Lee on Twitter. He spotted, and he had a keen ear, that the Tesla, there's a song. I would play the video, and I still could. I mean, anyone watching at home, I'll play it. I'll just mute the sound. There's a song in the background, and that's why I'll mute it, because I don't want any copyright infringement issues. But there's a song in the background it's an old 60s song by a guy named Don Hinton. It's called Honeybee. And in the video, at the 19-second mark, this is what Dave Lee had put on Twitter. The 19-second mark, they talk, I guess part of the lyrics of the song says, "I'll walk a million miles." And they talk and they reference that. So of course, us Tesla fanboys, we freak out about that. And we're like, oh, a million miles. This is the million-mile battery. And was it accidental? I don't think so.
Definitely not.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Franklin, do you think it was accidental?
No.
Yeah. And then there's also another part in there that someone responded to the original tweet by Dave Lee and said there's another part in it, just a couple lines after the million miles, where they talk about being charged up too. Not a lot of people talked about that. But so getting back to that video, let me just play it. Let me see if I can mute it. I mean, I don't think you guys will hear it anyways. But that's the video of it going right there. It's like, if that was slowed down, that's incredible that it's slowed down, because they look like they're making, a lot of batteries. Now, at the beginning of the video, you just see the individual cell being made and everything, and then you see it as the video progresses, you see the line getting bigger and bigger. And near the end of the video, you see them being put into like containers, not packs, because we know they're all individually packed. So they don't actually go in packs like the 2170s and the 6850s, but they're going into some kind of containers near the end. And there are a lot of containers. Like here, you can see it on the shelves here. There's a lot of trays and containers. Those are all, if I can, you can't see it there. Well, there's just a row and row of batteries. There's a lot of batteries. But I wanted to bring up that one point about the million mile. Can you imagine, like, really, like, obviously, and this has been brought up before, and we've talked about this, a million mile battery, which is here in Canada, and for the metric system, that's 1.6 million miles. Like, that's insane. Like, obviously, we know that no car will last that long. That battery pack basically is saying it's reusable. So the car will need to be replaced, and that battery pack will need to, which is a good thing, right? We're all in this whole reusable environment.
It becomes your power wall.
Yeah, that would be great. Oh, can you imagine what is running your house for, say, 40 to 50 or 60% of the day used to run your car 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So that was the video for Tesla doing the production lines and stuff like that. I'll get rid of that right now and bring up the next one. And that video, like I said, what was it? Hinton guy, the artist that did it. Where are we going here with these? Okay, yeah, right here. That video was called, or that song was called Honeybee. Now, I don't know if this is a correlation or this is any kind of little Easter egg or anything too. Just the name of it was called Honeybee. But today, this article is by Electric. We get our first look at the new structural battery pack that's going to be in these cars, whether it's going to be and we don't know yet. I think we've been told, or we're assuming it's going to be the new Wise coming out of Berlin. It'll be obviously in the Cybertruck. I'm not sure if it'll be in the Semi. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And the rumor is, but no one's confirmed it, but a high speculation is probably going to be in the new Model S refresh. Hasn't been confirmed because as of now, there is no refresh, right? According to Tesla. But we're looking at it right here. Electric got got a pretty good scoop here. They got some pictures. I don't know where they got this from. But if you zoom in the actual unibody structural pack here, you see these. Now, I apologize for anyone that's listening and not watching at home, because you really have to see this. And if you are listening, when you get a chance, check out Electric's article from January 19th. You see these dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of little round circular spots or trays where the 4680s are probably going to be encased in. And tell me if it does the same for you guys. It reminds me of a honeycomb. It looks exactly like a honeycomb. So that's where the little correlation with honeybee comes in.
So structurally speaking, though, isn't that the optimum shape, right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because if you go further down in Electric did their homework. Further down, they show here. This is in this. Let me zoom in on this. If you guys are watching at home, this is a BMW i3. It uses the hexagonal honeycomb structure for crash absorption in their battery pack. And this, I think I don't know if this was used in their actual pack or the sidewalls of the pack. But yeah, like you said, it is the most optimal rigid shape. That and what a triangle too, right? A pyramid. A pyramid's supposed to have good rigidity and strength. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the honeycomb shape?
I think it looks like a work of art.
Yeah, like.
So in terms of, it's probably like a really bad comparison, but when you're 3D printing, this is the optimal fill because you get the strongest structure while using the least amount of material, while you're getting the strongest you're basically getting a really good shell with less material, basically. Is I don't know. There's not much more to say about it, but it makes sense that Tesla would do this, right? And the i3 is doing it already, so it's not far-fetched that you're going to start seeing this in the Plaid S, as they mentioned in the chat.
But yeah. So
yeah,
Franklin, I was going to go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to poke your brain a little bit about, back in the day. I mean, I don't know if it's still called this, but there's something called hive computing, right? And generally speaking, when something dies in the hive, so to speak, the functionality lives on, right? It can survive the death of a number of these little hives. And ultimately, there will be individual battery pack failures, right? So I imagine it's a similar strategy here, right?
Yeah.
Where, because this is not going to be replaceable.
I'd imagine that's true because, like you said, not every single one's going to be functioning forever. So the ones that do die, the rest of them are just going to continue pushing forward and move and working, which is good because you're not like they don't have to replace everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. From like a usability perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
And then someone mentioned in the comments about getting in an accident, though. I think, in that case, it's probably a write-off for sure, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be able to be repaired.
Well, that's like the single casting that they're getting into, right? It's good from Tesla's perspective in terms of like mass producing, saving money, increasing profits. And then for the consumer, it's good for safety and things like that. But if you damage the cast, if you damage the main shell, your car's a write-off because they can't like strip off everything off the car, throw on a new shell or new under casting, and then be like, yeah, here's your new car. So it's bad in that perspective. But it's interesting because I was doing some reading about this to see which way is actually better and more cost efficient. Because most cars or all cars right now have like hundreds of parts, it's actually really costly to keep changing all the parts around wherever your accident happens. Where if you have like one big shell and the shell's damaged, your car is garbage anyway. But if the shell isn't damaged, it's actually a lot cheaper to replace all the parts you need because there's a lot less parts, right? So overall, it's like cost efficient to the consumer as well as Tesla. So it's kind of interesting to see them do this, and hopefully they pull it off successfully, right?
Yeah, it's definitely innovative, right?
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And moving right along, Franklin, you wanted to touch on this FSD price tweet from Elon. I'll bring it up here.
We've talked about this a couple of times, how there's no trade-in value to FSD when you trade in your car to Tesla.
I know that.
Yep,
I traded in my Model 3 for the Y, so I know.
And I've done some research locally, at least where we are. Currently, the used market values FSD around $6,000 to $7,000. So if you were to go private,
is that
Paul,
private sale or is that
on private sale?
Value?
Yeah, not through Tesla.
No. So Tesla will give you $0 for FSD, but privately, where we live, at least in our market, we'll get between $6,000 and $7,000 more just for having FSD, right? So if you're someone like myself who paid less than that, I'm actually up, right?
Yeah.
And I think over time, as FSD increases in price, and hopefully soon, FSD Beta Canada, that $2,600 increase, right? That used market price is going to increase, right? Because it just makes sense. So it's really good, though, that someone actually got this to Elon's attention, saying FSD is literally given no value right now. Because they take it off, and then, as Paul knows, they took it off your car. They're going to resell the car. And then if someone wants FSD, they're going to sell it to them again. Well,
they're not supposed to. They're supposed to sell it with FSD, but I think they bake it into the price, no doubt, right? Yeah.
But if I got 0 for my FSD on my Model 3 trade, right, and if they sold it with FSD, right, then why is somebody else getting my FSD? I think that's the problem, right? Like it should, and I agree with people who have said that, the FSD should be attached to your account, right?
Or at the very least, have like a reasonable transfer fee.
Well, here,
sure.
Yeah, as you bring that up, now what Franklin's talking about, just to tell people, give people at home some context here. This was on Twitter. This was a tweet that was put out by a guy named Pierre. He said basically he paid for FSD in November on his Model 3 and he traded it in and he got no FSD value. And Elon, and he didn't think it was right and not fair and that they should change it. Elon replied to him and saying, looking into this, no question that FSD should be viewed as reasonably valued when doing a trade-in. So he even agrees, right? And I guess he didn't know. And this is what Franklin's talking about, and that's what spurred up this whole conversation. But if you go further down, a lot of people put in good comments here, like Tessa Raj mentioned that it should be able to go forward and stuff like that. Even Trevor chimed in on it. But Chris from Dirty Tesla brought up a very interesting thing, and I think there's nothing wrong with doing this once. He said any chance of a one-time transfer of FSD seems to be fair to Tesla and the customers. Just one time, you have it, you can use it once.
I would prefer like pay $3,000, pay $4,000.
I agree
to get your.
That'll work too.
Because if you think like, I know 3,000 or 4,000 sounds like a lot, but it's not, because you paid the bulk of your money up front already, and now you're only paying a fraction of it to get it to your new car. And I think it's fair, because it's almost like you're extending your license. Windows does, like, if you have an existing Windows, you do an upgrade, it's a lot cheaper because you already have an existing Windows. It's like you have the existing software, now you're just paying for a transfer, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I think that would be better than a one-time, because even that one time, you're going to have people that complain, oh, I got my one time, I took the car off the lot, I got totaled, it's not my fault, I just lost my FSD, right?
Northern Tesla made, I'm not sure if you could pull up that comment, Dax, but like this is where I'm going with it, right? Because how many current Tesla owners who love their car, right? And maybe they got their Tesla several years ago and they're ready to upgrade, right? This, I think, would spur a lot of upgrades if there was a program, even if it is one time, like Dirty Tesla was suggesting, if there's some type of program to allow people to port their FSD, they would sell more cars. I think a lot of people would upgrade.
I agree. And I agree with anyone's suggestion, whether, like you guys say, a discounted rate, or Chris says a one-time fee, or like Rye says, just have it transferable for whatever. I agree with you guys. The sad part is I don't think they would do that. I'd be happy to be wrong, but I don't think they'd do that, only because this subscription service is coming. And I think they look at it, when I say they, I mean Tesla, looks at it as this may be the answer to everyone's gripes.
Yeah,
I don't know if it will be, but I have a feeling that's what their outlook is on
it. Coding Mark also said another thought would be to purchase FSD for an X number of vehicles attached to an account.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of like good solutions to this to still make Tesla gain, because you got to think they're still a business, they still have to profit. And they're still going to gain, but they're just going to gain more customer loyalty, and they're also gaining the price of a new vehicle, right?
Yeah. So somebody, I don't know if it was Twitter or somewhere social media, mentioned a couple days ago. They're like, I still wish Tesla would allow me to buy FSD even if I haven't purchased a car yet, and just put it on my account, and when I do, I get to put it on that car, so it locks in that price. Like, what harm is it in Tesla to do that? Like, I don't get it. Other than the harm of maybe it goes up $1,000 or $2,000 next, but at least you're almost, by doing that, you're like, that's like a down payment. That's like solidifying a future customer, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the next one you want to talk about there, Franklin.
Yeah, just real quick, because I didn't see this get covered a lot by a lot of different people. So can you there you go. I was going to ask you to zoom in. You beat me to it. Owen on Twitter said feedback, because the tweet above it, Elon basically said feedback is really good. It helps. Feedback is always super appreciated. It always helps. to donate money when you want to make a difference. He's talking about Signal and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, Owen said feedback: stop calling the base model 3/Y standard range or standard range plus. There's nothing there's nothing standard that's appealing, no matter how many pluses you put in front of it. So can you think of any product where you're like, yeah, I'm going to buy the standard one because that's the one that's good for me? So this guy makes a good point. Owen makes a good point, and Elon said good point. And
yeah,
I wonder if we're going to see that in the near future. You're no longer going to be able to buy a standard range plus.
It almost cheapens it. Well, wasn't this what I assumed, wasn't this what they wanted to do a few years back when they started dropping the 75 and 60 and 85 and 90 and 100 little badges on the back of the S's and the X's? They wanted to get away from that, right? And they wanted to just unify it, and whatever pack you had, but you didn't have to announce it. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. Just drop the SR, and I know they don't put SR on 3s and Ys. All they put on is dual motor, and if it's a performance, they put the red line underneath, right? And if it doesn't have it, then it's just nothing, and then you just assume it's a rear-wheel drive. The only difference is now you don't know if it's a rear-wheel drive original or if it's an SR Plus or even an SR. But no, this guy brings up a very good thing, and I guess Elon must have figured out, yeah, it makes sense.
Well, did he? Let's kind of really look at Elon's response here and recall his sense of humor. So, I think, I don't know. I'm not so sure he's agreeing with him. I think he's just being funny. Good point, because he said without the period.
Hey, this is how full page articles are made.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's even one word too many. Full page articles are usually on just one word responses from Elon. But Angelo in the chat, he says peasant model, and obviously Angelo must be a friend of Earl's for that.
Well, I mean, I think sometimes I draw some parallels between Tesla and Apple from a marketing perspective, right? And yeah, if you look at what Apple does with their iPhone 12 and then iPhone 12 Pro and then iPhone 12 Pro Max.
They've gotten crazy over the last few years.
But you don't see standard in front of the iPhone 12, right? Just the base model. It's not iPhone 12 standard. So I think there's a point there about, from a marketing perspective, about what sounds appealing for an aspirational brand. And let's be honest, I mean, Tesla is an aspirational brand right now. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. Just like Elon, good point. you are like Elon, Paul. Moving right along. This is like we don't have to.
The money.
yeah. You and I.
Elon without the money.
Yeah, all of us combined. Yeah. Moving right along. Like I said, I don't want to take too much. I just wanted to really show this. You guys can give me your opinion on what you think of it. But I just wanted to highlight this article once again by Drive Tesla Canada. They talk about the rear cargo area in the 7-seat Model Y, and how I remember seeing this, and I thought I before I saw this video, I thought, that looks interesting. If you look in this first picture, once again, I apologize to all the audio listeners, but this is basically a picture of the third row folded down, where you have all the cargo space as a 5-seater you normally have. But in this picture, you've got like a little, it's flat, and then just before it goes up to meet the third row folded flat seats, it goes up on a ramp. And I'm thinking, to put something flat in there, like if you got like a picnic table, like those folding picnic tables, those plastic tables that you put in flat, or you put in anything like boxes or something like that, when you hit that, because it goes up, it looks like it's like, once again, I'm describing it for anyone that can't see it. It looks like it goes up about an inch or two on a pretty steep angle. It looks like a good 40-degree angle, maybe 45-degree angle. And that would seem to get in the way. So I wondered about that. And then Darren, I guess in his digging, his hunting that he always does, he found this video. Yeah, he found this.
At the bottom of it.
Yeah, right down here.
It's not completely flat.
No, but what it does is it's brilliant how Tesla's engineers here. Basically, that lid or that cover that, as we all know, that there's a cover that covers the the deeper trunk area of the back seats or the back area of all Teslas. That's, I call it, I don't know what you want to call it. I call it the well area. There's always a lid that covers it. Now, this lid on the Model Y 7-seaters, it's reversible. So you can turn it upside down, and depending on which way it is, as you can see in this video, when they flip it, it goes flush. Now, you don't have that 45-degree angle, that huge difference in height. And then it stands up there. You can see in the video, it actually stands up. So it goes from having that little, I guess, that little rectangular space, that area, which is also, if you think about it, pretty handy, because what you can do with that is you could use stuff so it doesn't move around, slide around as you're driving. It'll stay in that area. That maybe that's why they've put it. And it's, like I said, it's sunken a little bit more, so it affords, if you need all the height in the back of the trunk, it affords maybe another inch or two. So I just think it's brilliant, the engineers that developed that.
I also think it's a really great design. And I'm wondering if Dreamcase had anything to do with it. Because at least now this way, when it's flat, you'll be able to put your Dreamcase mattress on it.
Yes, true. And
I'm half joking.
I know.
I'm sure that was part of the reason they wanted it flat, because we know a lot of people do camp in their Tesla, right? It's a real thing.
That would be a pain in the butt, pardon the pun, and literally that would be a pain if it was on that angle, that little bit of a dip. Think of sleeping all night, where right around, depending on how tall you are, I guess, and where you're situated in the back there, with it going down that much.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just a little
great design.
Yeah, a little cool little thing. One last thing, I didn't even want to bring this up, but I will, because it came up at the last minute. Once again, it is another. Then we'll get to some quick questions, and we can rifle through the questions before we end off. Another article by Drive Tesla Canada. This came up at the last minute as I was prepping for the show. A survey, Canadian survey here. It shows that 4 myths that are keeping Canadians from buying an EV. Now let's go through the myths. And we know, I mean, we've talked about this in other episodes, and we've talked about it off air, the three of us, about the adoption and of EVs worldwide, North America wide, even Canada wide, where we live, right? So we've talked about this basically. It talks about 50% of Canadians are ready to make the switch to electric vehicles, but then there's some myths that people don't know about, or people assume. And if you go down here, we'll go through all. There's 4 of them. Myth number 1, and once again, thanks for Darren for putting this together. Myth number 1: where will I find a public charger? So people are thinking, now Tesla side, this is just for all EVs. Tesla obviously has no issue, in my opinion. And in my opinion, once again, I've said this so many times, I reiterate it again. This, I think, is what separates other EVs from Teslas, is the supercharging network. I just finished watching a couple nights ago. I don't know if you guys caught it. What's his name? Aspect Motoring. I forget the guy's name. Kyle, Aspect Motoring. He did the cannonball run in the Porsche Taycan, and that video is coming soon. But he did another video where he picked it up in Florida and he went up to New York to start the trip. And the video is like an hour and 10 minutes, a long video. But if you watch it, you see the number one thing, the problem, and he used one of the best charging networks out there other than the superchargers, which he used EO or AO, Electrify America. Yes, EO, yeah. EA, yeah. Electrify America. He used that, and so many of them were down, or so many of them had charging issues, handshaking with the car and taking a long time. Like, I lost count of how many times he had to change spots and go over to the next spot.
I'm trying to remember the name now. There's one I tried charging up with.
Here in Canada?
Here in Canada, and I needed a charge. We actually had a Tesla meet that day, and we picked that spot specifically because they had chargers. So I had my adapter. We had like a bunch of Teslas there. We're going to go and have a brunch, and I had to open up their app, I had to download their app. I had to put money on my card, so I paid them like $10, $15.
You all have to do it.
Yeah, and then I sat there and I was trying to fiddle around to get the charger to work with my phone to get my car connected. And about 20 minutes later, I just gave up because I could not, for the life of me, get my payment. Like, my payment was on my account. My money was sitting there. They just couldn't connect my car. And it was such a hassle. So,
and you're a tech-savvy person. Can you imagine the layman person?
Yeah. And I'm like sitting, and at the end of it, I emailed them and asked them for a refund because I never used their service, and I don't think I ever will. It was just like, hey, I'm there. I really needed a charge. And then at the end of it, I just ended up going to a supercharger because it's just easier.
Yeah.
But
I've racked up probably 150,000 kilometers between my Teslas so far. And every time I've needed to go to a third-party charger, every time I go up to one, it's broken. So I think there is an issue here. Either that or I just have really bad luck, right?
No, it's not just you.
Tesla, it's not reliable, right? And that's going to be a problem for the other manufacturers.
It is Flow, by the way.
Flow? Yeah, and buddy, and Flow is one of the better ones. I've had pretty good success with Flow. But yeah, I hear you. You have to do an account, then you have to load the account. No, I get it.
Just a tip for anyone: ChargePoint is good. I like ChargePoint.
You have to do the same thing though.
You can send away for a ChargePoint card, and every single ChargePoint I've ever used has been free. You get like the first hour for free, which is usually more than enough for me.
Yeah.
But I don't have the app installed. I just have their little card because I don't like having apps installed on my phone. Very OCD that way that I'm not going to use often. So instead, I have the card that sits on my car.
You wouldn't like to see my phone.
But it's good because I have their little card. Anytime I want to use it, I just go tap the NFC and it works great.
Yeah.
So I like that one. Flow was a real pain.
No,
Angelo agrees in the chat.
Yeah, Flow. I didn't have a problem with Flow. Yeah, I know Angie probably didn't like it. But ChargePoint's good. Now, when before I had my Tesla, I had my Kia, and I had the little things on my key fob. I had the little ChargePoint had a little key tag with a barcode on it. That worked too. But now ChargePoint actually you can use the app, and it's like Apple Pay. It's like you just it's NFC. You just touch it near the charge point.
That's what I'm saying, though. Instead of using the app, I prefer the card. So I don't have to have their app installed for that, one time a year I use it.
Franklin still has a phone with 16 gigabytes of storage. So
actually, I don't pay for upgraded storage. There's no point. Cloud is the way to go.
No. You know what? And here's the funny thing. That was myth number one. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about myth number one. That wasn't even the problem. But if that was like how we were just griping about all the public chargers not working, if that was on this list of 4, I couldn't argue with them, right? But that isn't. Ironically, that's not on the list.
Really?
Myth number one, and no, it's where can I find a public charger? So let's just say that there's no lack of public chargers. Whether they work or not, that's a separate issue, like we just discussed. But there's over 14,000 public chargers across Canada. Now, yeah, you may say there's 5 times that in terms of gas stations, but you know what? It's growing, right? So there's 14,000. So there's more than enough. I shouldn't say it. There's not more than enough. There's enough right now for 2021 and for how many EVs are on the road. As that grows, that'll go up in numbers.
How many of these are level 1 though, which aren't level 1? Or level 2 rather, which aren't very useful.
Yeah, I think, no, I'm guarantee it. It's not 14,000 level 3s. So yeah, they've got to have that level 2 in there. So, but like Darren goes on to say, if that's not enough, there's also the fact that the vast majority, 71% is what he's talking about here, is charging done at home while you sleep. And I said this before, when I talk to my friends at work and family and stuff like that, and I tell them, because the first question is, how long does it take to charge? And I tell them, I charge at home when I'm sleeping, just like you charge your cell phone. And anyone that says, oh, I don't know, I don't charge my cell phone at night, I'm like, okay, don't get a test. If you don't charge your cell phone nightly and plug it in before you go to bed, then
they get free charging at work. Why would they charge it at home?
Oh, really? To charge your cell phone? Okay. Myth number 2. You know what? I'll come back to myth number 2. I'll come back.
So myth number 3 is EVs don't have enough range. 84% respondents didn't know they can travel more than 350 kilometers on a full charge. Yeah. So myth 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to ask one question to you two, as well as people in the chat. On your day-to-day travel, I'm not talking road trips, day-to-day, how many times have you guys stopped and said, "Oh man, I need to run out to a charger because my car's about to die."
Exactly. And that's exactly what Darren's saying here. It's like, in reality, most people drive 50 kilometers a day, which is 30 miles a day, like the average person. On other than road trips, like planned road trips, you're not going to have to worry and think about public charging. You're going to do with what the cars have today, you're going to do no more than 350 on a full charge. In my opinion. Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm actually at the reverse now. I know people have like range anxiety. I'm like the complete opposite, where my car's plugged in at night. When I get in my car in the morning, I just drive throughout the day. You know, I never once check my range when I'm coming home because I never think about it because I know my car has enough.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
And that's why, you know, Darren's calling it myths here, right? Because that's exactly what it is. So how do you reframe that, you know, so that people think about it differently? That's the question, right?
That's the question. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe he answered it down here. I didn't go down to check, but I'll quickly go to myth number 4. EVs are too expensive. Of those 47% who would not consider an EV, 59% of them said it was because they were too expensive to buy and maintain. Now, if this is what they're saying, to buy and maintain, they have no idea to maintenance, because that's one thing that they can't. There's no argument in there, right? And then Darren goes on to say, talking about provincial and federal rebates, depending on what you get, anywhere from 13,000 in Quebec and 8,000 in BC, and of course here in Ontario, nothing. Thank you, Mr. Ford. But it just goes to show you that people have no idea, and this is the same thing I've talked to my friends and family about. Go ahead, Paul.
It doesn't even have anything to do with the rebates either. The rebates are nice. I mean, they sweeten the pot, and they're visual, and you can really see it. But if you look at any EV purchase, not just the Tesla, but you have to look at it not in terms of acquisition costs, but your total cost of ownership over, let's say, 5 years, right? And the average person holds onto the car for 6 years, according to studies, right? So that's the frame line you have to look at it. So you're not going to have to pay for gas, you know, these type of things. Very few moving parts in electric vehicles. You know, the maintenance costs are a lot less. You may never need to replace your brakes, right?
So Coding Mark actually put out a poll about this, Paul, asking what needs to happen for more consumers to jump on board, like your average consumer. And I know, like, cost of ownership over time, like, as you and I know, it's like makes a night and day difference, right, in terms of like ownership. But you have to think, as the end consumer, what they care about most is how much it costs up front. And I know it's not the way you should think about it, but unfortunately that's how the mass majority of people do. So I feel like for mass consumer purchasing, you're going to need the initial sticker price to come down to what they're used to, saying, hey, I'm not going to go buy a car that costs X amount. I'm used to buying a car that costs this. That car is out of my price range. Because for them to understand, hey, over time it's going to be way cheaper, it's harder to one, break that myth, and two, from a financial perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because they might be saving money over time, but they still need that money up front to be able to save money over time.
Yeah, they have the money that they have now, right? And that's definitely for people who are concerned about that. That's totally legit, right?
Yeah.
But if you are, you know, if you can afford a little bit more of upfront costs, then it absolutely makes sense to look at an EV, right?
Yeah. While you guys were talking about that, I completely agree with you too.
Yeah, we saw you just like scrolling through your
because while you guys were talking about it, I was looking for this one video I watched yesterday, and I forgot where it was, and I was going through my history. And if you saw like Minecraft stuff, that's my son. And stuff
you don't have to be shy. We know.
No. I'm just saying. Anyways, a good video came out a couple days ago. At least I watched it a couple days ago by a guy on YouTube called 2-Bit Da Vinci. Very popular guy. He did a video. It's an 18-minute video where he broke down the true cost of owning a Tesla Model 3 or a Y, and he put it up against very comparable, very competitive cars in the class, like Lexuses and BMWs and stuff like that. And watch this video. Like if you have any, and this is, okay, anyone watching or listening to this, don't watch the video because you know what we're talking about already. But if you have any family members or friend or colleague or anything that's thinking about it, might be on the fence or even doubting it and argue with you all the time, get them to watch this video. This guy crunched the numbers. He did his homework. I mean, there's lots of videos out there, but this is the most recent one I've seen. And it speaks volumes. It shows you. And he broke down maintenance and like he went finite in these numbers. And it showed that in every 3 tests he did, or comparison tests he did, the EV came out on top and Tesla came out on top out of the 3 of them. Now you could say he's a little biased. He has a Tesla, but watch the video. It's good. Right?
Okay, we agree with you.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if I lost you or a second there. I thought maybe you're frozen or something because I heard nothing but dead silence. But yeah, so let's while we do that, you know what? We've got a minute. Let's go to the stories, and then I got a couple questions. I've got actually a few questions, but I've got a couple. We'll try to shorten tonight's episode because I know some of you guys got to go.
Let's do the questions first, and then the stories.
Okay, well then, ad lib for a minute. Let me just queue up the questions here.
Okay, there's actually one that was sent, and I'm sure you got it as well. It's talking about the delivery experience from Thomas. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so Thomas was picking up his Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive just before Christmas, and he wanted to share his experience to hear how our experience compared. So this is just before the end of Q4 deliveries. He lives out in Norway, and they weren't delivering in the superchargers. They're doing it out in the parking lots, and basically you showed up to a huge exhibition center. You go inside, there's a long queue, you finally check in, and you're actually checking in a tent, and eventually they say, here's where your car is parked. And he was saying it was minus 5 degrees Celsius outside, which is what, like 37, 38 Fahrenheit. And it took him about
no, that's like 25. No. That's like 25.
Okay.
Anyways,
sorry.
I don't mean to correct you, but
no, I prefer if you did. No, it's better.
He deserved correcting there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Youngin.
I don't know if Fahrenheit that well.
No, I remember reading this too, and this is one I wanted to bring up because
I like this.
Time
I
and
like
energy.
This one.
Yeah,
really
because as you're reading it and as you were listening to it, Paul, did you not think the same thing I did? Where this is he basically had the exact opposite weather-wise as we had when we picked our cars up at the airport. Like chaos and unorganization and a big venue, everything was the same, other than the weather was flip-flopped.
So some people who flew or drove more than 500 kilometers to get their car postponed. Many of them who ordered weren't happy, saying they're not going to pick up their cars if it's not inside.
Yeah, and then
he can't be bothered with that. He's like fine with waiting. He wants to know, how was it in Canada? Did you pick up your car in the dark parking lot, or did you need a red carpet and bottled wine on the passenger seat?
Well, I get it. And here's a picture he sent of some of the lineups and stuff like that.
Oh, the lights are lovely.
I was just about to say the same thing. That's a nice ambiance. But this is Norway. Keep in mind, Norway, what was it? Their last study was 54% of the cars sold in last month or last year were EVs. So they're going to get this a lot. I mean, this is something that I guess people in Norway are going to have to start contending with, or the manufacturers and Tesla and stuff like that, they're going to have to pull up their stocks and do a better job.
Well, like, since I think of the 3 of us here, I'm the one who most recently picked up a Tesla. So, I mean, I picked mine up during, the height of COVID, which we're still in. And it was a touchless experience, and there wasn't a lot of pomp and circumstance or ceremony around it. And it was light outside, so I guess that's good. I got a chance to really look around the car and make sure there wasn't anything wrong with it that I wasn't happy with. But I think, I have two answers to this. So one is during COVID, I think they're doing the best that they can, right? And they're probably finding themselves in these type of situations. My second point is that when you spend that much money on a car, right? I mean, you have an expectation of a great delivery experience, which I had with my Model X, right back in 2017. That's probably the best Tesla delivery experience I had, where it was like a red carpet thing, right? And you kind of felt special, which as a consumer is something that, you remember and you associate with the brand, right? So I think once COVID is done, hopefully Tesla makes the delivery experience a little more of a good experience. You know what I mean? Like, not that it's bad. It's
in like our delivery experience, and I say our because all three of us had the same with our three.
Yeah.
Like mine was on the first day that they started at the International Center in the morning, and I think I was there for like 6 or 7 hours. Where one person had part of my paperwork, another person had a part, a third person had a part, and they were running around for 6 hours trying to find each other.
Chaos.
To get all my paperwork together. Because they're trying to deliver, I think, like 1,500 to 2,000 cars over a 7-day span.
Yeah.
Right?
I can beat that story when you're done. I can beat it.
I'm sure you can, right? And I'm just saying it wasn't like a red carpet experience by any stretch of the imagination. They had a car out there. You can like go sit inside. You can check it out. But when I finally got my car, and it was in the afternoon, but people who were there in the afternoon probably didn't get their car till it was dark outside, truthfully. But when I finally got my car, it wasn't like they came out and they said, "Hey, here, let me show you some stuff about it." It was, "Here's your card. Good
Get
luck."
out of here.
Yeah, they were churning people through. But my experience when we picked up our Model 3s and around the same time at the International Center there in Toronto. So I did not pay by bank draft because I'm like, bank draft, that's just like, so I don't know, 1970 or something, right? So I did a wire transfer.
I remember you telling this.
When I went in to get my car, I'm sitting there, at that little, that circular desk thing with the high chairs.
Yep.
And the guy says, "Oh, so where's your bank draft?" I'm like, "Bank draft? I paid you guys by wire transfer." "Oh, well, we don't have your money." So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, I remember you telling that story to me before. Yeah, that would have been, I would have been having chickens there. Tony in the chat says his delivery went pretty smoothly, but then he turned around and said, but they forgot to take his trade-in. And then he almost drove off. Yeah.
Gary said May 31st, 5 hours at the International Center. So I'm glad to see that they shaved the time off by about an hour or two from my experience the day before.
Yeah, no, I was May 31st too, and mine, I probably ran into Gary there. Didn't know him at the time, obviously, but mine was about 4.5, 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Here's your card. I remember that. Here's your card, right?
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Well, they actually, okay, so in fairness, they did have a guest speaker, or I don't know, not a guest speaker, but they had like a Tesla representative who was going through PowerPoint slides.
Was it the lady, the girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? She's pretty high up in Tesla. I was there with Ryan.
Yeah.
From Nerds for Hire, and Ryan was chatting her up a little bit and just trying to get some information. No, not in that way, but trying to get information. They got to talking quite a bit, and she ended up being really, really high up in Tesla. And ironically, last year, 2019, I got to be careful because 2019 we went to the Cybertruck event. Ryan ran into her again, and she's still working for Tesla. Yeah.
Did she remember him?
Yeah, well, she said she remembered him. I don't know if she called him by his name, but I think she remembered him. And very, very nice lady.
So, like calling your baby or what?
Moving on.
I think I'm funny. That's what's important here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, we got other questions, but you know what? I apologize. Next week, we will sacrifice more articles and get to more questions and do it that way. So let's just get to the stories so we can end off because I know you guys got to go. Do you guys even have any stories for us tonight?
I think I just told you one.
Yeah. Okay. We'll count that one as the questions. I do. You don't want to do this? Okay.
Do questions instead of stories. I haven't driven this week, so I don't have no stories for you.
Yeah, I've only got 600 kilometers on our Model Y after 2 months.
Oh, I wish I had your problem.
I think you beat me over the last 2 months, Paul.
Oh, did I?
Okay, here's a question from MOB. How long, speaking of deliveries, how long out between order and delivery? Sales guys says 8 weeks, but I know it's usually a lot sooner. Anyone know?
I'll take a first stab at this one. On
Sure.
all 3 Teslas that I've purchased in my lifetime, all 3 of them came before they were expected. So I don't know if they give you a worst case scenario and it's kind of like under promise, over deliver, but all 3 of mine came before I was expecting them.
Okay, it's good to know. Let me see what else we got here.
I'm looking. I have a referral from December 9th, which is 4 weeks. So I'll let you guys know in 4 more weeks from now if they got their car.
Yeah, I've got some recent ones too.
Yeah, check your referrals because that's how you tell.
You guys still get referrals? I haven't got a referral. Actually, I shouldn't say it.
Yeah, you don't get referrals? I
got one around Christmas time. I don't need them. Like when I get someone, and what I should have done with this guy, just because he was my buddy and he refused to use anyone else's, because I helped him out a lot, I guess. But I didn't need it. But when I get one, I try to give it to someone else that I know that doesn't have any or can use supercharging miles, because I just hate to see it go to waste.
I do the same generally. Honestly, most of my referrals are people that don't reach out, or I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, they automatically. That's what my buddy did. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Here's a question from Raj while you guys are looking for your referrals.
This guy got his car in a week.
Was it back in December?
No, they ordered on the 12th of January, and they received on the 19th today.
Yes. Yes, Akita says they're sandbagging delivery times too now. Raj has a question here.
This might be a silly question, but does your electricity consumption go higher with a 110 volt charging solution versus a 200 14-50?
The drum roll, please, because I know the answer. I want to see if you guys do.
Okay, go ahead, Dax.
You know, I tell people I'm not an electrician.
Well, nor am I, but I just know from experience, it actually does. 110 is a lot less efficient, probably 2 to 3 times less efficient. And there was a chart that someone put up, and I wish I had access to it right now, but it is 200 or 240 volt is a lot more efficient. And keep in mind too, there's another question, not from this guy, but it was another question in a Facebook page that I run, that this guy was asking about his landlord had given him last month's electricity bill and was freaking out, saying, "Oh, my bill went up $110, and it's all because I let you start charging your car." And he was just plugged in the 110, and he was basically asking everyone in the group, "Is my landlord full of it, or could it actually have been just from my charging?" Because he goes, I forget, he broke down. It was a long post, but he broke down how much he actually charged. But at the end of the day, he thought that maybe it was $30 or $40, but because of the inefficiency of 110, it could have been. Plus, what people don't realize is they see what goes into their car as kilowatts and stuff like that, but they don't realize when you're plugged in, the car is pulling other stuff from the grid that may not go into the battery pack, that may just keep the battery pack warm here in wintertime, that may preheat the car, like, different things, different functions of the car use energy when it's plugged in that doesn't just go into the battery pack. Once again, another situation. I don't know if you guys are here or not.
We're here. But
okay. Yeah. So anything to add to that?
I agree with your assessment because I don't know any better.
Okay.
Same.
I was wondering if you could help me out. My M3 seems to turn on the interior heating with no input from me or my wife. Looks like it's everyday F3, but I have no scheduled programmed. It is as if my smart preconditioning was on, but it is not for either my profile or my wife's. Anyone have a suggestion?
It's like a ghost car.
Yeah, I was going to say exorcism.
Is there the only thing I can think of, if they have any third-party apps that are connected, because third-party apps can precondition your car. So the easiest way is just change your password, and then all the third-party app tokens get reset, and then see if it's still doing it. If it is, ask the question again, and we'll hopefully have a better solution for you.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Great minds think alike.
Must be. Let's go. I think I got one more here. Am I going the right way? Yeah, here we go.
Janet, is anyone...
I'm glad you used the name.
What's that?
I'm glad you used the name for once.
I think I did 2 or 3.
Yeah,
you're trailing their camper with their Model
Y.
I know.
Okay, for anyone at home.
It says capital M, capital Y. Okay. If so, what size camper are you towing, and what has your range experience been? We are waffling between a Tab 320 CS or a R-Pod 190. They're speaking a different language to me now.
Yeah, I don't know what those things are.
Tab trailers and R-Pods are those. You ever seen those little tiny trailers that go down the road like little teardrops?
Yeah.
Those are R-Pods and Tabs. They're little tiny. So they probably weigh like maybe a ton, 2,000 pounds, maybe. I'm guessing. So I guess Janet just wants to know, if anyone's what we think of.
Unfortunately, Janet, as you can tell, not very educated on your question to answer it adequately. Dax, would you like to weigh in? Because you...
Yeah. Well, all I could say for an R-Pod or a Tab, if it's like without looking at the actual model, you say a 190 or a 320 CS. Once again, I'm assuming it's in the ballpark of about 2,000 pounds. Yeah, that would be fine. I mean, I don't think you would have any problems, even with cargo and payload and stuff like that. By the time you put up your Model Y, load up your Model Y, you'll still be fine. Even if that trailer was on the heavy side and say 2,500 pounds, you still way under your.
But I think she's asking what the range experience has been.
Oh, sorry. Right? I read it wrong. Oh, the range experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's going to be like anything else you tow. It's going to be like what I've experienced in the
40%. 40%,
40 to 50%
in the summer.
Yeah. Oh, in the winter, yeah, you don't.
In the winter would be more,
but
right?
It's also weight dependent, isn't it?
Sorry about that, Paul. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. I totally didn't read it right. Yeah, range. Say again, Franklin.
But wouldn't it be wouldn't it be also weight dependent, not just the fact that it's there? It's like whatever they're pulling, right?
Well, no, yeah, it would be weight. So that would that would affect the range, but also anything that you're pulling it's resistance, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's extra contact onto the road, whether you have a single or double axle. It just makes it worse, I guess. But and those teardrops are pretty aerodynamic, but at the end of the day, it's not like pulling down one of these big travel trailers that are basically a square box pushing air down the highway. They're a little more aerodynamic, but you're still pulling, right? You're still gonna lose something.
That's why I think like a reasonable estimate would be between 40 and 50% at the range lock in the summer. Yep.
Yeah. Just calculate for that. Yeah.
A reasonable solution: put a pre-order on a Cybertruck today.
Yeah, but you know what? I hope I'm wrong, but that's gonna still have range loss, right? Hopefully I'm wrong in terms of how much. Hopefully, like Paul's saying, which I agree with, 40 to 50%. Hopefully it's not in there, that range, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all the questions.
All right. Goodbye.
All the time that we have for the questions. We got a few more that we can tackle next week. Guys, thanks very much for joining me and helping me out with my 1 year anniversary. I really appreciate that. No, we got to do this again. Dax. Maybe next time this year again, or this time next year again. No, I'm kidding. Hopefully we do way before that.
A little more gray hair, but I'll be here.
Yeah, let me help out everyone. You can find Paul Tesla Canuck on every single social platform.
Look at
Make sure to check him out on YouTube. He's going to break 15,000 subscribers this year. Top-notch quality content. Seriously.
I try.
Tesla Canuck, YouTube, Tesla Canuck, Twitter. He's not much on Facebook, but Tesla Canuck everywhere. Subscribe on YouTube.
Funny. Sorry, cut you off, Franklin. Funny story. Paul, you got a video coming up, a live video coming up this weekend.
Yes, I do.
I saw it. I saw when you posted it last weekend. Once again, I misread it, just like I misread everything. I thought it was last Sunday. So I didn't tell you this. I actually plan my whole day around 3 p.m. because that's when it is, by the way, next week. My own fault. Don't feel bad or anything. So I plan and I sit down and it's like 3:02 and I'm like thinking I'm late. I go on. I'm like, it still says, oh, he hasn't gone on yet. And then I'm waiting another 2 or 3 minutes and I look at it and I'm like, it says the 24th, or I think it's the 24th, right, or something.
Yeah, I mean,
my own fault.
No, I mean, what I'm trying to do is like, because the series that I'm doing is really geared towards new Tesla owners or people thinking of buying a Tesla.
Yeah.
So I just want to give plenty of advance notice for people to plan, and if they're interested in that content, to make arrangements to be able to see it. So yeah, I did it a week in advance, so it's unusual. So
no, I think it's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant, but stupid me. Okay, continue, Franklin. Plug yourself.
Dax, you can find Dax on his YouTube channel, DaxM, because you're here. Tesla Talks on Twitter, and he has a whole bunch of Facebook pages and stuff for anyone who uses that garbage still. All right.
Yes. And Franklin?
I'm sorry. You can find me on Twitter at mfrunker. You can find me on YouTube at motherfrunker. And I think that covers all my social platforms that I use. I'm on all of them.
You're on Snapchat. You're on Snapchat.
Don't use it.
TikTok.
I'm not on Snapchat. Yeah. I'll send you pictures of my car, Paul.
Most importantly, Franklin's on Tinder.
Unwrapped, Paul.
Folks, thanks very much for joining us this week. We will see you here next week. Thanks, guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat that helped out and participated. Thanks to everyone that mailed in their questions or asked us a question.
Because this is like the first question we had in the chat all night.
Yep.
What new product do you guys think we will see first? Plaid S, Cybertruck, Semi?
Plaid S.
I hope it's a Cybertruck.
Yeah, I hope it's a Cybertruck too, but it's going to be the Plaid S.
Yeah, probably.
Plaid S, my guess.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next week.